key light and fill light all in one. Hello world, my name is Matt Spa and I'm a photographer, videographer, and guy who likes to keep things simple in Atlanta, Georgia. My channel is about all things audio, video, and photo related. If that kind of stuff strikes your fancy, please consider subscribing. In this video, I want to show you a light modifier that I've been using lately. When I purchased it, I never really thought it would end up being a go-to piece of gear, but the more I use it, the more I realize how well it suits a really wide range of situations. This scene that you're currently looking at is, in my opinion, a medium shot. Focal length is about 30 millimeters. That back wall is 14 feet wide and I'm about 12 feet from it. My aperture is set at 2.8 and ISO is 640. The main lighting for this entire scene is coming from one light source, the Klar Illumimax 120, of which I'm a big fan. Check out my review here. I of course realize that there are a couple of practical lights back there, but the amount of actual illumination that they're providing is nominal. They're both dimmed down about as far as they will go. But I am well lit. I'm well lit. By the time I adjust this footage, my skin tone will be hitting around, I don't know, 75 to 80 IRE on the Luma waveform, which shows the brightness of all the areas of the scene. And I'm getting a decent amount of soft ambient light in the background. So what is this single magic modifier that's making all this happen? Back in olden times, when Pier 1 stores still existed, there was a sphere-shaped piece of paper we called a paper or Chinese lantern. These days, we're far too sophisticated to apply any type of cultural reference to anything, so what I'm being lit by is called the Glow Easy Lock Quick Ball Lantern Softbox with Deflection Disc. Whatever you call it, it is a unique modifier that I think deserves to be considered as part of your lighting kit. I used to get my paper lanterns from Pier 1 or IKEA for about $6. They didn't last long, and there was always a struggle to get the light bulb positioned where you wanted it to be inside the ball. Plus, back then, high wattage bulbs actually made significant amounts of heat, so getting a light bright enough to light a scene often caused a fire hazard, which is rarely a good thing. All of those shortcomings have been addressed, and we now have a number of spherical lantern-style modifiers on the market in a range of sizes. The one I'm using is the smallest offering from Glow, which is a brand exclusive to Adorama. And it's a dandy little piece of gear. Not only will this last longer than the lanterns I used to buy, and probably not catch fire, but the light can be further modified by using that included deflector dish. More about that later. This unit is 10 times the price of the lanterns I used to buy, but I'm confident that it will have way more than 10 times the lifespan they did. Like all the Glow Easy Lock modifiers, this one is easy to set up, is extremely well built. It's got a Bowens S mount, and it comes with a soft padded zipper case. Sidebar. One really nice thing about these Glow Easy Lock cases, they all have the name of the modifier printed on the outside. This may seem insignificant, but I find it really helpful as many of the modifiers that I use are roughly the same size, so having them labeled makes my life easier, and I'm a big fan of things that make my life easier. The key with any light modifier is placement. The inverse square law says that the farther away you move your light source, the less light will hit your subject. It says it in a way fancier way, but that's the gist. If this is a principle that you're not familiar with, you need to become familiar with it. Do a search for inverse square law. You'll find plenty of videos out there that will help you understand it better. Or comment below if you'd like me to make a video explaining it in more detail. Bottom line, placement matters. I already gave you the basic dimensions of this shot. I moved the light back and forth until I was pleased with the amount of light that was reaching the back wall. I then put myself in the shot at a distance as close to the light as I needed to be for correct exposure and tweaked my camera settings to dial everything in. I'm sorry. This is not supposed to be a lighting tutorial, it's a product overview. The point is, you can get wonderful or terrible results with any modifier if you don't understand the light coming out of it. Now, back to the Glow Easy Lock 20-inch Quick Ball Lantern Softbox with Deflector Disc. This is not what I would call a precision instrument. A typical directional softbox can be aimed. You can feather the light, you can add a grid. This thing just lights up everything, which to me makes it ideal for lighting multiple subjects or for use in a case like this, where I'm trying to light myself and the room around me. You can set this up, add some well-placed reflectors or flags, and light a complete scene with a single relatively small, soft light source, which is what I've done here. I'm using this as my key light and my fill light. When employed as a dedicated fill, it works really well in a wide range of situations. Also, I'm looking at this only from kind of a video standpoint, but with a suitably powered strobe, it would be an ideal solution for architectural interiors or anything that needs an evenly distributed soft fill light. All that said, the Glow Easy Lock 20-inch quick ball lantern softbox with deflection disc is not a completely blunt instrument. As I mentioned before, you can adjust the light by changing the position of that included deflector dish. The dish can be moved closer or further from your light source, which allows you to control how the light hits the diffusion material that makes up the sphere. For video, the biggest difference is that you gain about 2/3 of a stop when you move the dish to its furthest position or remove it altogether. Given the small amount of light I'm using in this example and the size of the sphere, the quality of light is affected somewhat, but the effect is pretty minimal. When used with a higher light output, like a strobe for photography, you're going to see a greater variation in quality of light and your ability to control specular highlights. The model I'm using, the 20-inch version, is $60. They make a 25-inch version for $10 more and a 31-inch version for $20 more. So, do I recommend it? Sure. I wouldn't go in debt to buy it, but if you've got the money and are looking for something new to add to your light modifier arsenal, I'd say this would be a great addition. The more I use it, the more ways I find to use it, if that makes sense. Because of its size, it stays set up in the studio most of the time and is actually becoming a go-to piece of gear for me. All in all, I'd call it an excellent value for a versatile, high-quality modifier. I hope this video has been helpful. If you enjoyed it, let me and your benevolent YouTube overlords know by clicking that thumbs up button and maybe even subscribing. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.